So Donald Trump invited Sean Hannity to the very disgustingly gold Oval Office for a sit-down interview. Given that it is Sean Hannity and Fox News, our expectations here are that the interview is basically a cuddle session, with Sean whispering sweetly into Donald's ear that he is a big, strong man who can do no wrong and who makes all of the best decisions. We might even expect that they get so into it in this cuddle session that Sean accidentally calls Donald Ainsley. And that's about how the interview goes, starting with the big questions like, how did it feel when Donald Trump walked back into the Oval Office for the first time?
Let's talk about the moment you walked back in this office, this desk, this room, your carpet. How'd you feel?
Well, it was a lot of work. And as you know, I felt that we shouldn't have had to necessarily be here. Could have been done, a lot of work. Could have been, it would have been over. We wouldn't have inflation. We wouldn't have had the Afghanistan disaster. We wouldn't have October 7th with Israel, where so many people were killed. And you wouldn't have a Ukraine war going on. But with all that being said, I think it's bigger. It's bigger than if it were more traditional.
Only the second time in history somebody didn't have consecutive terms.
Yeah. Well, they say it's historically bigger. I don't know about that. But I can say it showed us a couple of things. It showed us that the radical left, their philosophies and policies are horrible.
Or it showed us that the American public was frustrated and hurting, and the Democratic Party didn't offer up a response that effectively countered the fake strongman, I can solve it all rhetoric from the authoritarian goof that is Donald Trump. And I want you to set your watch, because Donald Trump says nothing bad would have happened if he had been president instead of Biden. Watch what does happen when bad things start happening while he's president, because bad things always happen. It's inevitable. You think the person in the White House can stop the horrors of the world? Please. Donald Trump will blame everyone else when the bad things happen. We've already seen this in action. But the interview also touched on Biden's use of pardons before he left office. As we know, Biden issued pardons for people in his family, including Hunter Biden, but also for other people who have been the subject of repeated attacks from Donald Trump, who has articulated that he wants to see retribution. People like Dr. Anthony Fauci, again, to protect them from politically motivated attacks. But Sean Hannity has a far more of a problem with these pardons than he does the pardons of the men who stomped on the faces of police officers at the January 6th insurrection. Let's see what Donald Trump has to say about Biden's use of pardons.
Joe Biden ran and said he would never do preemptive pardons. It was an issue that came up when you were leaving in your first time.
He heard that I was going to do it. I didn't want to do it. I was given the option. They said, sir, would you like to pardon everybody, including yourself? I said, I'm not going to pardon anybody. We didn't do anything wrong. And we had people that suffered. They're incredible patriots. We had people that suffered. You had Bannon put in jail. You had Peter Navarro put in jail. You had people that suffered. And far worse than that, they've lost their fortunes. They've lost their nest egg, paying it to lawyers. And those people, and people said, and they wouldn't have even taken, most of those people, they wouldn't have even taken a pardon. This guy went around giving everybody pardons. And you know, the funny thing, maybe the sad thing, is he didn't give himself a pardon. And if you look at it, it all had to do with him.
Do you believe him that people around him wouldn't even accept a pardon if offered? Please. And people have suggested, is Donald Trump floating the possibility that he will go after Biden himself, with that little comment about how it's interesting that Biden didn't pardon himself? Well, thanks to the Supreme Court, Biden has that sweet, sweet presidential immunity, right? He shouldn't have to worry, right? I've also heard commentators, while they're criticizing Biden's use of pardons, say basically this gives Trump the green light to abuse his pardon power. Do you really think Donald Trump needs to be given the green light to abuse something? he needs to look to Biden for whether he can carry out an action? Or do you think that he acts on impulse and does what he wants as a person who has lived his entire life with a silver spoon in his mouth, abusing and stealing and scheming without consequence for his entire life? I think it's the latter. And surely we will see more of this in the weeks and months to come. Easy interviews from Fox News, pushing away media figures who might have a hint of desire to hold power to account.
If you want to change your IP address when watching or downloading large video files, you need a VPN. Most VPNs come with a lot of buffering and waiting when you're dealing with video, but our sponsor, Private Internet Access, will not subject you to that. PIA is the only VPN fully optimized for lightning-fast streaming and downloading 4K content without the buffering. Changing your IP address with a VPN lets you do things like watch the UK version of Netflix or the Australian version of Hulu, so you can watch lots of great content not normally available in your country. For instance, PIA lets me see a bunch of great Argentinian soccer I can't normally get in the US. They have servers in 91 countries, and with just a single account, you can use PIA on unlimited devices: computer, tablet, phone, TV, game console. If you sign up for PIA today and you don't love it, you can get a full refund anytime in the first 30 days. So try Private Internet Access risk-free and get 83% off, which comes out to just $203 a month plus 4 extra months for free. Go to piavpn.com/Pacman. The link is down below.